So what does anxiety feel like? I'm gonna do my best to make this as short as possible while explaining everything in a simple manner. Whether you're going through anxiety or you know somebody that's going through it, you're trying to put yourself in their shoes, I congratulate you and salute you for being proactive, because that's what it's gonna take. So guys, anxiety for me, there's many different ways of explaining it. It was like the worst nightmare you've ever been through, but it lasted for 5 years and you couldn't wake up. It's like being caught in this huge hole or this sand pit, and every time you get to the top and you think you're gonna get out, you slide back down. And at the bottom of that sand pit is this horrible monster that's gonna take you under. Okay, it's that impending doom. It's the fear that's anchored in your subconscious. It's like being in the dark no matter what time of day it is, and you have nothing but a small little lighter. You don't have a torch, you don't have a lantern, a small little lighter to try to see. It's like an extreme weight or gravity force, if you will, pushing down on you to the point to where it's hard to put one foot in front of the other. See, it was a negative way that I dealt with my adversities, and the funny thing about it, I believe it was just a sign that I needed to grow as a person. That's what anxiety was for me. And until I handled my adversities, until I handled the changes of becoming an adult and making some lifestyle changes, I was gonna remain anxious. So I was stubborn for 4 years, and that last year was a recovery period. It took a year of me doing everything right to get right. See, it was a fear, it was a worry, an obsession, if you will, anchored in my subconscious mind. And believe me, I wish that I could have just gone into my subconscious mind and just picked out the anxiety or drew it out with a needle, right? But it's not that easy. Once it's anchored up there, as many of you are finding out, it takes a long time to get it out. With it came bouts of depression. I didn't really want to leave my home. I started to isolate myself from people, whether that be social situations. I distanced myself from family members. I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed, I felt like they were talking about me behind my back. With anxiety came paranoia, so I assumed the worst. With anxiety came anger issues. I was an angry person. And ironically, I just became extremely selfish. The more I worried about me and what was going on, the less I focused on others. So I started to isolate myself. I was in a relationship with somebody for 4 long years, and that even ended because of my anxiety disorder. So I became socially anxious, dealt with bouts of depression. I had 5 to 10 panic attacks every single day until the end. 5 to 10 panic attacks every day. I had chest pains, headaches, nausea, IBS, so I had constipation, diarrhea, frequent urination, chills, numbness, tingling, you name it. Intrusive thoughts. I had depersonalization, derealization. I felt out of touch with reality. I felt like I was going insane. I felt like I was going crazy. I wasn't looking forward to tomorrow, ever. In fact, I was always planning my funeral. I thought every day I was dying and that every day was going to be my last. And that was part of my health anxiety. I would Google my symptoms all day long, not really accepting that it was anxiety, but that there was something physically wrong with me. I would go in thinking that I had one disease, and by the time I was done Googling, I was convinced and self-diagnosed myself with multiple diseases. I was always checking my heart rate. I was always checking my blood pressure. I couldn't hold a job down, whether that be the commute on the way there, me having to pull over to have multiple panic attacks, dousing myself with water, doing jumping jacks and exercises on the side of the highway just so I could get to work. Or once I got to work, the stress of it, or my anxiety or my panic attacks would lead me running to the hospital. I was always at the hospital. I spent the night, one night at the ER in the parking lot just in case I was gonna have a heart attack. I had tons of testing done. I was always seeking reassurance from others and from doctors that I was okay, that I was healthy. And in the beginning, that wasn't enough. I dealt with insomnia. Often wouldn't get sleep for 2 to 3 nights in a row. I became really abusive as far as substances. My drinking and tobacco use skyrocketed. I had to drink every single day just to numb myself of the pain that I would deal from my anxiety or to stop the panic attacks. Ironically, that made the next morning very, very much worse, and I would have anxiety hangovers, which would be my alcohol hangover coupled with my anxiety symptoms, which would be a recipe for disaster. It would make everything much, much worse. So basically, it crippled me in every type of way. It crippled me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. It caused me to push everyone away, to become socially anxious, which was ironic because I was like a social butterfly before this. So I guess all in all, the best way to explain to you how anxiety feels or what anxiety feels like, it's just like your worst nightmare and you can't wake up. And that's something that I dealt with for 5 long years. But ironically, I'm thankful for going through that because it has made me much stronger. My anxiety tips are down below because I did recover from anxiety. It took me a year of doing all of the right things. It doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna take you that long, but just be ready to work. That's what you have to do. You have to put in hard work, but it is possible. There's light at the end of the tunnel. If I recovered from all of those things, the panic disorder, bouts of depression, social anxiety, and health anxiety, then I know you guys can overcome that, okay? You can do it. You just gotta keep fighting. Use those tips. There are resources down below that. There's online therapy that's cheaper than in person. You can do it on the phone like I'm talking to you, and you can choose from so many. Try that out if you haven't. It can really shorten your recovery time. There's books, workbooks, and journals, that are down there. So try those out. Anything to speed up your recovery. My social media is down there. Guys, like this video if you got value, okay? Just wanted to switch it up a little bit today. Let me know down in that comment section what anxiety feels like to you. The best, I guess the shortest way that you can explain it. Let me know down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell so you get updates when I put my videos out. And until next time, guys, keep fighting. I love you, and I will talk to you later.